Hi everyone. I am a little bit like not anxious, but I wonder if it's working with all the try I did about this Ecamm setup. And for the third time, I try to be connected with Marc Henry, that is a professor of biochemistry through other things, and where he's doing an amazing work with water since 40 years dedicated to this. So there are a lot of video on YouTube about his work in French, and we decided to do this one in English for the people that cannot have a proper translation, because I checked a little bit the translator on the YouTube French video, and some words doesn't make any sense. It's not bad, but it's not it doesn't make any sense. So I wanted to have this discussion with Mark about water. And for me, as you may know, it's a magic thing. So Mark, I'm gonna try to make you coming. Yes, you are here.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Mark. Um, so I'm so happy. I'm a little bit, I cannot say anxious. It's not anxious, but I'm like, is it working this time? It seems that it's
Yeah.
working. So I would love, we're going to speak about water. You're going to tell us a lot of things about water. I discovered lately, regarding your video in French, that water is not an element. And I was surprised because I always say, oh, the element of water, like air element, and this surprised me. I say, oh, and finally it makes sense. And so I would love that you tell us how did you came on this topic of water, because it's many decades now you are there, and what is
Yeah.
your background, how did you start the studies of you know uh, chemistry, and how this brought you where you are today since the beginning.
Okay. So, hello everybody. In fact, when it start when I was a child. When I was a child, I have an obsession doing science. I want to be a scientist, and from the very beginning, even in the small classes, I was very interested in science. And so when I became adult, of course, I take the decision to make science. And for being a scientist, you are you have no choice. It's very well established. You just have to follow the way that is standard for any scientist. So this is a PhD. That is to say, you must have your PhD. You must be a doctor. So I managed to get a PhD, and I was interested in chemistry. Why chemistry? Because when I was young, my mother was selling, I don't know the medicament.
Medicine, drugs,
In
yeah.
English, it's
She was pharmacist.
medicament. Yes, pharmacy. And I was, after my studies, I was in the office, and I was playing with the medicines.
Uh-huh.
So it interested me from the very beginning. So I made my PhD in chemistry. And then once you have a PhD, the next step is to go to a research company, or to public education. So I choose, in France, we have this organism which is called the CNRS,
Mm-hmm.
Centre National de la Recherche Scientifique, National Center for Scientific Research. And so I was happy to be there for about 10 years. And during these 10 years, I was specialist, I take a specialty which is chemistry of materials. That is to say, how to make materials. And I became an expert of how to make materials from water.
Wow.
That is to say, at this stage, I was interested in water, not because of water, but because it is the most interesting solvent. It is cheap and it can dissolve anything. So for me, for making powders, ceramics, and glasses, this is ideal. So I was using water, and about 10 years after, I want to be a professor. CNRS, I go to university, and now I get a chair of full professorship in chemistry in the town of Strasbourg. And I stay in this town, Strasbourg, for until my retirement. And so I developed expertise in chemistry, but now not only for making materials, but also for water as water. That is to say, water in a cell, what in a living cell, water in the ground, water in the sky, water everywhere.
Mhm.
Because you think a little bit, you have water almost everywhere. You cannot have an object without water. Even if an object seems to be dry, it is not dry. There is some water which is either in the surface or inside. Dryness is not a property of water. Water solvates anything. And so I became a specialist of this substance on many subjects, and this was mainly based on matter. That is water seen as the combination of two atoms, hydrogen and oxygen, with the formula H2O. Um, and then I discover philosophy and also mysticism.
Mhm.
That is to say, water is also in contact. To explain the property of water, I have to learn quantum physics, because if you want to understand the properties of water, you cannot understand this property with classical physics.
Mm.
You must go to quantum physics. This is mandatory. And once you are trained in quantum physics, there is a whole world of spirituality which open.
Mm.
And so I was at the end of my career at the university, I was very interested by all the e-materials aspect of water. And so we are now. I am on retirement. But as you know, when you have 40 years of scientific research, you cannot be on retirement. Even if I don't make any more teaching, I have no more students. But in my home, I have internet and I can still continue to write publications, to be an expert, because I am very involved in science. The editors send me manuscripts that I say, oh, this is good, this is not good, because I am an expert in this field. And so I am on retirement, but still active in science. And the only way to be non-active, it will when I will be dead. But when, as is not the case, far not the case, I am still doing science in a different way, and I met different people which
Mm.
are not expert, people like you,
Mm.
which are not at all scientists, and this makes me very happy because
Mm.
I discover new worlds of which are not in the world of research, and these worlds are also very interesting.
Yeah,
So
but you have
here's the summary of my life.
you have a lot of students. now differently,
Yes,
because there are a lot of people intrigued and interested about that. And what I loved in the video I watched, it's the
I will
simplicity.
not say students, I will say friends.
Excuse me.
I will not say students, but friends.
Yes, yeah, yeah. And I watched this video, and what I loved is the simple way and very comprehensive way you explain this phenomenon of water. And
So it's okay for the English.
it's okay, I'm sure
It's okay
people gonna
because I
understand. Mine is not better, you know. I'm like, I have not a big vocabulary, and you just, it's okay. It's perfect for me, and I'm sure people will understand. And because you know, when we don't have a lot of words in a language, we are obliged to go more to the essential, and it's anyway it transpire through us because you are so full and connected to this knowledge that you have and that you worked on since so many years, that this by the vibration gonna by resonance touch the
yeah
people. So language is not a problem. I know I was listening also that you go in school at school to tell children about the story of water and to speak to them about that, and this is very important because knowing more about this amazing matter that is water, it's knowing more about us, about ourselves, how we function.
yeah
And it's quite fascinating that we are mostly that, even if some say we're only 70%. You demonstrate that we are more than 70% of water.
yeah. That's a key point
Mm.
because what I've learned in science is that if you want to understand the properties of matter, you have to count. That is to say, one, two, three, four, five.
Mm.
It is a number which is important, not the mass. The mass is a lazy way to count.
Mm.
That is to say, it is interesting, the mass, for selling. If I want to sell you something, okay, mass is perfect. But if I want to understand what I am trying to sell to you, here you should count. And this is a standard transformation. I have learned this in university. You learn this the first year, how to change mass into numbers,
Mm.
because science is in numbers, not in the masses. And so when you say that you are made of 70% of water, this is not interesting. You cannot understand anything with such an information.
Mhm.
And so you have to transform this mass into a number of objects. And for water, these objects are called the water molecules, that is to say H2O. And you count one, two, three, four. And when you do this counting, you find, I was very surprised, 99%. That is, I'm looking in a mirror, and what I see is 99% of water. And I don't see water. I see the 1% which is not water.
It's amazing.
So this is amazing to realize that. And
Yeah,
only science can do that. You must have a scientific look, because if you have an artistic look, you see 1%. By science, you see 99%. And after, of course, the good way to proceed is to make science and art, both.
yeah,
But of course, with art, you have a different perception when you say that what you are observing is water. And this is the reason why I forge a new term, because the problem. I look myself in the mirror, and this is water, but this is obvious that is not water. I am not a glass of water. So I make a new name, morphogenic water.
Yeah.
That is to say, water which give a shape.
Shape. Yeah.
Voilà. And this is a new word. I have invented it. And now I speak of morphogenic water.
Mm.
That is to say, everything is made of morphogenic water. And this is why we don't see water. We see the shape.
Yes. Yeah. It's fascinating. It's fascinating because what is holding that water together, you know, to get this shape? And that is, I can say, always the same shape because, sure, we age, but my cells reproduce, and there is this maybe information in that water of my body that gives to the new cells the same information. And it's like, and I still look me like that thing. It's 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 so strange to me. What is holding this? It's a void that is holding this together. That is not void
Yeah.
in a way.
But I have not told you all the whole story.
I'm sorry I
Because
interrupted you because I'm.
99%, it's amazing. But there is something which is still more amazing.
Yeah.
And I discovered this much later. The 99%, I discovered this at the very beginning of my career. So it was the standard,
Yeah.
very easy. But the other view on water, I need 30 years of research.
Oh my.
And I have to learn quantum physics. Because if you look at at matter, this 99% in number, this is in fact 99.9999999% of vacuum.
Oh my goodness.
That is to say, we are nothing. Water is nothing. Or it is just a little amount of water in a large amount of void of vacuum. And so we are essentially vacuum. So you
Yeah.
see, that's the next. You
Yeah.
realize count, so you realize that you are almost water, and then after you ask what is matter, and then you have an answer which tells you that you are a very negligible, very small number of, in fact, and the reality is void, vacuum.
Yeah.
So this is why I don't like to speak of vacuum, because when you say vacuum, of course, people think of
Exact.
nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you are thinking, no, no. So there is a better expression which is more in line with philosophy, which is ether.
Mm.
Ether is something which is different from matter, and it has a characteristic that it is something, but you see nothing. And this
Yeah.
is exactly what we are made of. We are made of ether, that is to say, a thing which is not a material thing, but which is not visible to our five senses. So this is why now I prefer to speak about ether
Hmm.
rather than vacuum. But of course, it's the same. If you
Yeah.
like vacuum, it's okay for me.
Yeah. But this is, in fact, in a form. It's like manifesting here in a form the something of my invisible entity
Yeah,
being, and it's manifesting here, but it's from the
yeah.
invisible.
And
It's.
this is why you need water. You have an invisible shape,
Uh-huh.
and to make this shape visible, you take water molecules. But the shape, which is you,
Hmm.
is ether, invisible.
Yeah. um, so the water in the comes from where? The water comes from the cosmos, comes, it's water everywhere. So the water we
Oh,
have here.
I've made the calculation. You know, in science, we know where do come from water. Water, matter is made by stars. That is to say, you just look in the sky
Mm-hmm.
and you see the sun and you see stars. When there is no sun, you have a night, and at night you see the stars. It is here in the stars, in the sun, that the matter is made. And of course, when these stars arrive at the end of its life, you have an explosion. This is called supernova. And this explosion releases all the matter in the universe.
Mm.
And scientists know very well. They've made computation. We have, as I am a chemist, I know that we have what we say a periodic table of the elements, which is
Mm-hmm.
due to Mendeleev, a Russian chemist. And among this periodic table of the elements, you have two. The most abundant one, the fuel of the stars, is hydrogen. That is to say, hydrogen is the very first element to make all the other elements. The second one is helium,
Mm-hmm.
and helium is made also in the star. But if you are a chemist, you know that helium is not very interesting. Why? Because it is what we call an inert gas.
Mm-hmm.
That is to say, what he likes is to be alone, me, and just me. So he cannot do anything with helium. And this is the second most abundant element in the universe. And I will guess you, let you guess, what is the third?
Uh,
It's oxygen.
I was going, yeah,
Oxygen is
yeah.
the third most abundant element in the universe. And as helium is alone, it
Yeah.
doesn't want to react. You have only, in fact, you have two atoms which we have an encounter in the universe. The most probable encounter is hydrogen with oxygen.
Uh-huh.
And what we do when hydrogen meet oxygen,
We have.
you're making water. So
Yeah.
water is everywhere in you
Mm-hmm.
and everywhere out of you. That is to say, and this is interesting with water because with another substance, I will never speak about extraterrestrial people.
Yeah.
That is to say, but with water,
We
of
are.
course, is the most abundant substance in the universe. In the universe, if there are other solar systems where you have life, that is to say, what we call extraterrestrial life,
Mm-hmm.
it would be based on water. It cannot be based on anything else. And so we'll meet the same shapes.
Mm.
You see? That is to say, we'll not meet robots or it
Yeah.
will
This
be
is.
people like
Yeah.
you and me that will be made of water, in fact, of ether, vacuum, decorated with water.
Yeah. This is a reflection I had about the robots and the difference with AI and with us, and the difference is water, because we are made of water and there are information passing non-stop from everywhere through us.
Yeah.
But robots, they don't have this thing as water. So it's unless
And
they do robots with water, but it's different. They cannot have the same intelligence. They cannot have the
no,
same way to get information from even unknown places, from the unknown. From it's not possible.
you see, that's amazing because you have say the word that I have not said. I don't want to say this word
Which
because I am
one?
a scientist. You say the word, you are information.
Oh yeah.
That is, you cannot dissociate water and information.
Mm.
And if water takes a shape, it is because you have information inside
In
this water.
in the formation,
Information, and in information, you have form, shape. So you see, it's
morphogenic.
very logical. This
Yeah.
is to say, when you say water, you say information.
Yeah.
And this is interesting because if you are a little bit interested in water, you know there are processes which put information in water.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Oh
called
yeah.
dynamic water or informed water.
Mm-hmm.
And we have this very beautiful medicine, which is homeopathy.
Yeah.
And what is homeopathy? Is just water with information. So you see, we are at the root of something very clear and very important, that everything is made of water and information. So if I change the information in water, I change my shape. And this is what we call aging.
Mm-hmm.
Why we change our shape? Because we are
Mm-hmm.
always gaining information and releasing information. So our information content change, and as the information of our water change,
Mm-hmm.
our shape is changing also.
Yeah.
This is it's perfectly clear and logic. There is no. And what I don't understand, because when I say what I say to you here to other scientists, they
Yeah.
say, ah, the memory of water. Ah, water has no memory, water, no info. This is amazing because it's this idea that water carries information as a memory and that homeopathy is a good medicine is very logic and it is
Yeah.
deep rooted in science. And I don't understand why there is this.
You know, it's
You
because it will put back in perspective a lot of things. A lot of
know the
things.
word
I'm sorry.
omerta. You
Yeah,
know the
it's that.
word?
Yeah. Yeah.
You have an omerta that say, don't speak about that.
Yeah,
Speak of
because
what you want,
yeah.
but not of memory of water or to the fact that water can hold information. And this I don't understand because this is so logical and so deep rooted in quantum physics that it should be an evidence.
Yeah, and when you understand that, me, I understood very quite early. When I was in Paris, I had a session with this osteopath who was working in a very subtle way. And when he was working, we worked a lot on releasing cell memory. And I could feel the flow different in my body because
Yeah,
something was stuck somewhere by a stress or fear or something that was from when I grew as a child or things like that, and it was taking a shape in my body a little bit not aligned. And when it was working, I could really feel the flow in my body, and
yeah,
it was released. It was and this is um, and I think the way we are and the way we are interested and the way we share our perception, in fact, we are vehicle of information all the time.
mm,
It's it's for that. It's maybe it's what are doing artists. They are expressing this thing in art to share with the world, to give a glimpse of who we are as a human being. Uh,
yeah.
Me, I'm amazed since some little girl about being a human being. I remember seeing my hands and was wondering, wow, this is fantastic. What is this? Like an extraterrestrial who discovered a physical body. And
Mm,
and I always been fascinating. I cut myself, how this is repairing, how this is working. Sure, it's repairing maybe because there is a memory in these cells that know what to do. They have the information, and I think the fact to be fascinated and amazed by it and enthusiastic makes the repairing faster because it's acknowledged
Yeah.
the ability to heal of the body and to be grateful of it. And
Yeah.
this is something that fascinates me since little girl, because I scratched myself on the rocks in the bushes when I was in Corsica, and I was, in 2 days it's gone. How this thing that looks so fragile can be repaired like that? So there is a mystery there. There is something at work, an intelligence deep inside each cells, but in fact it's the intelligence that is in water.
Yeah.
I guess it's that.
Yeah. Because a cell is water.
Yeah, yeah, it's really fascinating.
99.1% water, 0.4% of organic matter, and 0.5% of metallic ions.
Yeah,
So you see,
it's who we are.
mainly water.
Yeah. And what is amazing also, I experiment that since some days, since I discovered you, because on YouTube like 3 weeks ago, 1 month ago. And it's a work that you do with another subtle thing that is music. And I listened to this music. At the beginning, I was a little bit, that is based on the frequency of water.
Yeah.
and and I listened to the music the first time, and I was like, "What is that? It's off tune." I was like, and finally, I decided to be totally open to receive the vibration of the music. So I lie
Yeah.
down and I let do, and it's absolutely like a massage inside my body. It's really pleasant. So I shared this, and I would love that you tell us how, because you are a musician too, and how you
Yes.
discovered Tommy Jack and how you decided to work together.
Well, again, it's I have no. Uh, for me, it was an evidence because, uh, as I told you, my mother was in a pharmacy, and my grandmother was a pianist,
Oh,
was playing piano.
yeah.
So she had prize for premier prix de conservatoire à Paris. Uh, I don't know how to say this in English.
Yeah, the first
First prize
award of conservatory in France, in Paris, yeah,
in France,
of
and
piano.
she was teaching piano to other children. And of course, I was his grandchildren. I was obliged to learn piano. I have no choice. So I have no merit. That is to say, I was put in this family,
Yeah.
and this is like this. So I learned the piano. Then after, as I told you, I realized that we are 99% water. And I was very interested because I say music is made of notes. Music notes C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. Um, and these notes are, in fact, frequencies.
Hmm.
That is, they correspond to vibrations that we can hear. And when you know and you study music, because I am a scientist, so I am not just making music, I want also to understand what is music. I was amazed that there is what is called a diapason.
Hmm.
That is to transform a musical note into a frequency, you need a reference frequency which is 440 hertz, which is what we call the A3 diapason of
Yeah.
music. And when you say, why 440 hertz? You have no response from musicians. They just say to you, it's like this.
Hmm.
We decided to, in 1953, there was a decision. We say it should be 440 hertz for making what we call now Occidental music, rock, things, songs, and always this diapason.
Mm-hmm.
And this where music and science meet because I was now very involved in science. I know that water doesn't exist. It is in fact a vibration.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering, okay, water is not a matter, a very small amount of water. It is almost ether, which is in vibrations. What is the frequency of this vibration? And for me, it was very easy because I have the science.
Sure.
I make the computation. I know how to do that. It's very easy for me. And I get 429.62 hertz.
Yeah.
I was happy because with 429.62 hertz, it's very close to 440.
Mm-hmm.
It's not very far. It's a little bit different. It's the same. You are a little bit different from water, but you are water. So when we take this music diapason of 440 hertz, we are not very far from the diapason of water.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, okay, so now what will happen? And it was an experiment. What will happen if I make a music, but instead of using the standard diapason of
Of
440 hertz, I use the new one, which corresponds to water. And it's here where I am a musician, that is to say, I can play music, but I am not a composer.
mm,
That is, to say, I am not able to make, to take, to sing, and to write a song.
mm.
Is another aspect of music, what is called to be a composer and not just a musician. Uh, and I look for a composer which will be interested in this, that is to say, make a song or a music piece of work uh, by using this new diapason. And so it's always like this. You discuss with people, oh, do you know a musical
Yeah.
composer which is, and I say, oh, yes, there is a guy, a man called Tommy Jacks,
Uh-huh.
which is in Lyon, in France. And it was very interesting because before Lyon, he was in, oh, I don't know the English word, Thailand.
In Thailand,
How
I
do
saw that. I said, this is so strange because I have a foot in Thailand too.
yes, but not a flute. It was as the head of one of the most popular
Yeah.
Thai orchestra. And just why does he stop in Thailand and come back to France? Because at the beginning it was French,
Yeah.
but he made all this career in Thailand because he have a heart problem.
Oh.
And why I am I am interested now in the subtle aspect of water because I have also an heart problem.
Mm.
That is to say, we are on the same level.
Yes.
Uh, we have the same problems. That is to say, in English, it's NDE, near-death experiments.
Yeah.
Make an NDE, he has make an NDE.
Yeah.
And so we are connected by this matter of fact.
Sure.
And I think that's the reason why when people told me, oh, you have Tommy Jack in Lyon, I say, oh, that's
It
the right guy.
resonates. Yeah.
I know him, in fact, but not from my life, from my NDE experiment. I think that
Uh-huh.
we have met. And so we have met and decide to make this.
Amazing.
And then we come back into our bodies
Ah.
because we are not dead. Come back to our bodies and without knowing, but it was inevitable that we should meet and make something. And this is, I was very happy that he accept to check, that is to say, oh, for me, it's not a problem. I will make you. This was the first was a music called Ondine.
Mm-hmm.
It was for people we are in gardens. That is to say, we want to make water for plants. So
Uh-huh.
this was the first music which was made at the water diapason. And with this music, this was the starting of a collaboration, which has now we are at the fourth volume of
Yeah.
with 10 songs per volume. We have made classical music. We have made I
More
don't know
contemporary.
we call this
Yeah.
new music
Yeah.
water music, and we are beginning the fourth album,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
I
of course we will continue.
yeah.
with- So you
It's
see, the story is amazing. Also,
yeah, it's
when you
fascinating.
think we always go back to this idea that in the ether you have information,
Mm.
and we can exist either as a body full of water, but we also exist
As
somewhere in the ether as a pool
invisible.
of information.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that, and it's
Everything is logical, and of course, it's much easier in the ether than in the body.
mm. Yeah. In the body, it needs time as well to be manifested, to be created, to be. It's slower in a way. In the ether, in the invisible, things are going faster, and it's like that. But after to make,
Invisible, the only thing you can do is vibrating.
yeah,
This is the only thing that you can do,
mm,
vibrate.
yeah, it's that,
In
yeah,
the body, you vibrate and you make other things, which
yeah,
are not at all vibrations.
yeah, and I, it's like we are emitters.
Yeah.
It's like
And
yes, and receptors, but the way we think, the way we are connected within our heart, and we think from that way we are connecting with the heart, gonna manifest our divine essence through this form that is there. And people gonna that are also forms made of water like that, they
yeah,
gonna come in resonance with who we are, and like this they can get also information without words from us, and we can exchange this, and it can be eventually through art, music, or me, I do photography, and I understood very early that the photographer frequency, I can say, consciousness, was in the pictures that the people are watching from this photographer, and
yeah,
they can go by resonance connecting to this person. I noticed that long time ago when I did a show in Paris in a restaurant. I let a book for people to write, so my pictures were there mostly about water, diptych, triptychs, uh, landscapes and portraits together or overlapped. It was no Photoshop at that time. It was a work in lab with slides or negatives to overlap them to have a portrait overlay on a water view, and and I led the show. I was there at the opening. I met few people, and after the show, stayed maybe a couple of months in the restaurant. And when I got back the book, that people wrote what they felt about the show, I was really surprised because they described myself, but they never saw me. It was no internet at that time.
yeah.
And it's that I realized that the consciousness of the photographer or the artist is right there for others to come in resonance with. And for the music, it's very powerful because the music can impact billions of people. we see this with the the celebrities and the stars that are on stage and they have all
Yeah.
this following. If they had all another diapason, another tuning forks on water, this would impact so much the collective. And I wish that there are musicians that are listening and who are intrigued and interested about composing uh,
Yeah.
with this diapason, with these forks, tuning forks of frequency.
And you know that with my scientific background, I have also to read a lot of philosophical books.
Mm-hmm.
What has been find amazing is that when you take uh, the vision, if you take, for example, Christian religion, at the beginning was sound.
Yes.
If you see,
Yes.
even before what you see, you have sound. If you take Buddhism, India, sound.
Mm.
Oh, so you see, sound and music is the most primitive thing.
Yeah.
That is, if you are at this level, you cannot go beyond.
Mm.
Or if you go beyond, you are dead.
Yeah.
But if you are living, so if you are in a living state, the first thing, the primitive thing is music, sound. And this is also why I develop so much now music at this water diapason, because we are sound in the ether and we are sound by the water diapason,
Mm.
our constitution in our body by the matter. So you see, we are, I think, at the most powerful stage of what can bring music to people.
Mm.
It will be very difficult to go beyond this stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It
so
says.
we will see. Huh?
Mm, mm, mm.
Now, we have a lot of returns from people who are hearing this music. It's very nice because some things happen with this music that is quite interesting and not predictable. That is to say, you can, if you are ill or if you are not in a depressive state, this music can make you very good
Yeah.
and will be very helpful. And we have a lot of returns of people who love this. And even we have returns of people who are in a coma state
Mm.
that they don't react. But if you make them hear the music, they react.
Mm.
They are still in the coma. But you see in the
Yeah.
apparating or measuring apparatus, you see that something is going on. It is not awake, they are not awake, but there
Yeah.
is an electrical
Yeah.
activity
Yeah.
which was not there before they hear the music.
Yeah. This is.
So we will make a conference in France, in Lyon, with Tommy, where we will invite medical doctors
Mm-hmm.
because we want now that this thing should be examined in hospital. In
Yes.
science should be interested in this subject,
Mm.
and we hope that there will be plenty of people at this conference, and that we begin to see another kind of healing
Mm-hmm.
that is healing by music and not by chemistry.
Yeah. In fact, it's something that is practiced since eras in some part of the world, indigenous, that are um, more connected to nature and simple things. They use a lot of sound, and that it be the voice or that it be instrument. And
Yeah.
this is they use this to heal. The shamans is what they do as well. And I was watching the video you did with Tommy, the interview with Tommy and I forgot Eric, I think, the other person, the other man that was there as well.
Oui, Eric, because this we should speak also about this. You have, of course, the music, but you have also the device
Yeah,
uh, which reproduce music.
yeah,
So Eric was
yes,
specialized in a
it,
system which gives a very, um, I would say,
fidel, accurate,
objective,
accurate.
accurate
Yes,
reproduction of the frequencies.
yes,
So he sells systems, and I say that this is very expensive,
yeah, yeah,
but this is mandatory if you want to have the full power of this music. You cannot listen this music with small device.
mm,
You have to be very careful if you want to have a therapeutic effect.
yeah,
Of
sure.
course, if you just want to have a good time, you can use bad systems of reproducing music.
Mm,
But if you really want to go to at this level of the
mm-hmm,
ether and healing, you have to have the most effective and the most
mm-hmm.
powerful system. And Eric is selling this kind of
Yeah,
systems.
yeah, I was explaining that. What I found interesting about Tommy as well, he said that he started very young, at 5 years old, to do music, and he was explaining something that I felt was really with integrity. He was saying that if he doesn't feel good one day, he will not compose because the intention and the way he feels that day, he doesn't want that to be in a way give information in what he's creating. So he wait to be balanced and aligned and feel good to compose. So this is also the way the music is created. So this is very important because we know more and more the importance of intention and gratefulness about being, grateful and being in a way working, creating with the heart, not with the mind wanting just, for example, for a lot to make money. And when we have this consciousness, this is in the music we listen. So this makes us to be more and more aligned with what is right for us and our integrity as well. So I think
Well,
it's very important. It's all a question of resonance,
yeah,
and it's wonderful when you have people working like that. I know you have this conference in September in Lyon.
yeah,
It's that, huh?
yeah.
Yeah, and
And I will add. Can I add a point?
yeah, sure, sure.
In fact, there is three important things when you want to benefit from this kind of music. First, they should be composed at the water tuning fork diapason. That's first. Second, you should have the most uh, powerful reproducing systems of music. To say, the better the device which provide music to you, the better will be the effect. And the third point, it's the electronic music. Because when you play with instruments which are analogic, that is to say, violin, an harp, or a flute, the diapason is changing
Changing, yeah. Regarding
because
the weather, yeah.
the humidity is changing, the temperature is changing, and so you have never the same diapason during the execution of the piece of
Mm-hmm.
music. And this is why we go to electronic music, because here we have a synthesizer
Regular, yeah.
in where we say the diapason is 429.62%, and it will be at this diapason during the whole execution.
Yeah, this is
It will
very,
not, it
yeah.
will not depend about temperature and humidity. It will always, you are ensured that it is okay.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, this is a problem because you have some people who are not easy with electronic music. They say, that's not music. The real music, if with a violin, with a flute, with harp, not with a computer.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to realize that if you want to have really this diapason, you have no other choice.
Yes, sure.
Mm.
And it makes sense.
What Tommy, yes, and what Tommy ensured to me that with the level of computing he used, he had the most perfect reproducing systems of the sound. That is to say, only expert can make the difference
Mm,
between the real instrument and the sound which is synthesized by
mm.
a computer.
Such an
It's
amazing
very
work.
difficult to
Yeah.
make the difference. And so we have, of course, we are not making music with, uh, we are making music with electronic instrument, but it is a very, very, very high quality.
Mm.
So this is the third point. That is to say, if these 3 points are okay, then you will get the full benefit.
Yeah, and we have the technology, we can use it at our advantage to make
Yeah,
things more precise, and there is nothing wrong to use technology, I think. And look, we are speaking in grace of
yeah.
technology as well.
Only the only trouble is the price.
Yeah, sure.
The price, because if you want to have a good reproducing system and a good computer for making music,
Mm,
it's
yes,
expensive.
yeah. And I can see the difference. I listen to the music on my phone, I listen on my big computer, and I listen without the sound system, and I listen with the sound system on my big computer. Totally different.
Yeah.
The vibration is totally
Yes.
different. And I don't have a very sophisticated sound system. So when you have a very good material to reproduce the sound, I'm sure it's amazing. And if you have also the place where you are, I imagine listening to that in a earth dome, for example, in a building in
Yeah.
earth with a dome. I'm sure it's also with a good sound system. I would love to hear that in some kind of cave or church, or where the acoustic is extraordinary. It would be
Yeah.
amazing. Maybe maybe it's possible. I don't know if this exists still. It makes me think about that. Every year on 29th of September, I've been several times, the Imaginaries of Mont Saint Michel, and they have the sound and light and the Mont Saint Michel, and it's quite fat. It's really, really beautiful. It was really beautiful. I don't know if they still do it, but maybe this could be an opportunity to collaborate and be part of the show in the Mont
Of
Saint
course.
Michel with this music. It could be fascinating. And
There is a there is another place
yeah,
which is in Belgium.
yeah.
In Belgium, you have a place which is called the Water Dome.
Oh,
It is a very huge system with a coupole,
mm-hmm.
an hemispheric
A dome. Yeah.
system, dome, which is above a pool of water.
Uh huh.
And you can be inside the water and having the sound.
Wow.
So it will be interesting to develop something with, because I know very well the people who are
Yeah.
managing this dome. So it will be very easy for me to arrange something that we can hear such music in such an environment.
Yeah.
And it is in Belgium,
Uh huh.
not in France, but
Yeah.
it's not very far from France,
No.
and it's very far from the States, of course.
Yes, it is. But I was I, this September. I would have loved. I don't know if it's open to public, but I would love to come to the conference in Lyon.
Yeah,
Maybe when I can't, because I will be in India at that time, so I cannot be
you
there.
cannot be at two places at the same time.
Maybe I have the gift of ubiquity. I have maybe to develop that. uh,
Maybe, maybe.
but I don't know if it can be useful for you and to me when you have the date and time for Lyon, I can post for people to be aware of because I have a lot of followers from France for sure, and maybe if it's
Yeah,
open, they could, if they are interested, they could go and be informed about that or spread about that. It could be nice. We could do that. And what I'm gonna do, we're gonna end now. I'm gonna put all the link in the description. There's gonna be in YouTube videos, so all the links with what you do and Tommy and the association you are part of. So like these people who are curious and interested, they can go and
yeah.
check it out. And we are in touch, and maybe we will do another time something. We'll see. There are things moving. I had some feedback from some of my followers who started to listen to music.
Yeah.
And, like me, the first time they found it a little bit uncomfortable, but now they really love it. And I have friend artists who are using it when they are making their art, and it's really the first time I listened, I was amazed. I was at my computer and suddenly I felt to stand up and dance. And I dance like I'm dancing often here alone in my world. But this way to dance was more magical than usual. It was like it was flowing
Yes.
more.
That will be the next step.
Uh-huh.
Now we have singing.
Yes.
The next piece of work will be singing, sung.
Yes.
We want to try what happened with the human voice.
Yeah.
So here it will be the next step
Uh-huh.
to mix the music at the water diapason with a singer,
Yeah.
uh, and this should be done by the end of July.
Okay. Okay.
So we are very near from that. And then the next step after that is dancing.
Dancing, yeah, it goes with that, with that flow. And I have several people around me who are doing already workshop with dance, and they
Yeah,
may be interesting. But dance, not dance in the way,
yeah, dance
yeah, moving the body and
in consciousness.
yes, yeah, in nature, or they do this in water and all that. So I'm sure they would be interested about this as well. So like this, we can extend, the network and
Yeah,
the impact of that. And I'm sure I will have things coming because me, I feel I'm more a mediator, like connecting things than
mm,
I'm not engaged in dancing, especially even if I feel this deep inside, or in singing. I did this can help. I'm thinking of my teacher in Paris of lyric song, and maybe she's listening to us. I'm sure she will be interested as well about that. Um, I never pursue as singer, but I love to sing as well, and this is also the thing with the voice. I go from one to another, but I was used to hate my voice until one day for voiceover for a commercial, I
yeah,
hear my voice in a studio, professional studio, and I cried because me who hated my voice, in a way, I was not giving me authorization to speak to others like I do now.
mm,
I realized that my voice was beautiful when I was able to listen in that professional studio. I
yeah,
cried. I thanked the client to give me this opportunity. And from that, I started to be more open, realizing that the voice is a vehicle of information.
yeah,
And And it's a wonderful feeling. So it's not by singing or dancing, but it's just by being present simply by the voice as well. Yeah.
So by the end of the year, we will have some clues about what is possible in this domain.
Yeah, at the end of the year, I will be in France around my birthday in December. So maybe
Yeah?
things advance and maybe something gonna be
Yes, of course.
be able to meet or you know do something like that more indirect as well. This could be really amazing. Yeah.
We are at the beginning.
Yes, it's amazing. Thank you so much, Mark, and thank you for
But
being so patient with all the try we did and all this. As I'm persona non grata on Instagram, I have to find other ways.
it
Yeah,
was a pleasure.
yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for all the amazing work and sharing so kindly with us about this amazing adventure and path of your journey with water. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye, and it's the next time.
Yeah, next time, as
Yeah,
you want.
yeah. Bye, Mark. Bye bye.
Bye bye.